certainly not happy with those who oppose them, and we will continue to hold their feet to the fire when they fail to keep their promises or when they fail to do things that hold their governments accountable. That's my answer to Minister Chuck.
Bless up, ABR family and viewers. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Isabel Rose. And in this one, civil society groups comes out on the government after they booted Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis from being a commissioner on the Integrity Commission board. Daniel Archer of the National Integrity Action came out charging on Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, and Bishop Christine Gooden Ben-Guche from the JCC, that's the Jamaica Council of Churches, came out full force saying that they must leave the Auditor General alone. And so Daniel Archer also ripped into Delroy Chuck, who says that the civil society groups are biased due to the fact that they are calling for good governance and calling for accountability from this government. She even went as far as to say that instead of them going and sorting out the Access to Information Act, they sit on it how long now in the Parliament, not doing anything, but their continuous attack on the Integrity Commission to water down the Integrity Commission is very obvious. And so I have an interview here from Dion Jackson Miller, where Daniel Archer and the Bishop from the Jamaica Council of Churches speaking out on this matter. ABR family and viewers, please to watch the entire video. Remember to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Please and thanks.
Daniel Archer, let me start with you. The Justice Minister is saying him not paying in a mind because all of you coming at it from a political angle, he says.
You know, when I heard him say that, I could only think of the reality that I stand on the shoulder of somebody like Marcus Garvey, who was deemed an enemy of the state for promoting the rights of black people. History vindicated him. I'm sure history will vindicate the many civil society groups here in Jamaica, because it is the norm for governments and political actors to discredit civil society, to weaken scrutiny when they're on track to becoming an authoritarian entity. Globally, civil society organizations frequently encounter such accusations when they expose corruption or advocate for human rights. So I have no difficulty with him disregarding us, but I will tell him and tell all persons who believe that all civil society groups in Jamaica are merely political actors. Simply because people don't agree with you doesn't mean that you are to castigate them as being a political entity or that they're biased because you refuse to listen to what they have to say. Our job and our mission is to hold you accountable. When you are doing things that lack transparency, that are corrupt, and that enables the powerful over those who they are supposed to serve, you will hear the voice of civil society. If you want to demean them by saying that they're politically biased because they oppose you, well, recognize that's the first step towards having a tyrannical regime. Mr. Chuck, as a Justice Minister, ought to know that. And he's quite aware that when political groups are biased and they hold a political aligned position, then they're happy with that. They're certainly not happy with those who oppose them, and we will continue to hold their feet to the fire when they fail to keep their promises or when they fail to do things that hold their governments accountable. That's my answer to Minister Chuck.
In relation to the issue of tyranny, the story that was carried in the Gleaner, I think it was earlier today, Mr. Chuck says he doesn't see how this particular development could be regarded as being tyrannical.
And I will say to Mr. Chuck, let's have a look at your pattern. Let's look at the things that your government has been doing. You promised an impeachment bill, but when it was convenient, you said it wasn't relevant. You promised that you were going to be able to hold your own persons accountable for corruption, but rather than doing that, your leader has taken the Integrity Commission to court. We were going to put it on record. You have yet to provide us with a code of conduct. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs had indicated that it was going to be presented. It was the cabinet. We haven't seen it. So you don't want anything that holds you accountable. When civil society groups call you out, you say they are biased. You scrutinize people who call you out and who oppose you. And there are a litany of things that you have closed the doors on because you refuse to have the public understand. Where is the review for the, what we call it again, that particular act that allows us to get information? You were to review that, but you didn't do that. You promised to repeal the Official Secrets Act. You didn't do that. You're spending all your time tearing down the Integrity Commission only because you have members of Parliament who are implicated for illicit enrichment and you do not want them scrutinized. Are you really going to tell me that you're not moving towards a tyrannical regime?
So after they argued that conflict of interest on the part of the Auditor General, they're coming now to say that it is too expensive to have, external auditing the Integrity Commission due to the fact that the Auditor General sits on the Integrity Commission. So all of a sudden, they have money to do everything else to pay themselves, but they don't have enough money to have another auditing body audit the Integrity Commission. Make that make sense. But hear what Daniel Archer responds to that.
It's interesting that we're complaining about not having enough money to pay the Integrity Commission, but we have enough money to pay the parliamentarians who refuse to provide a code of conduct. We find money for what we need to find money for. And using that as an excuse, they already know that's a lazy and an escape route to being able to destroy the Integrity Commission. There has been no problem. Private groups can do it. There is no challenge with conflict of interest. The legislation speaks to that. And Mr. Chuck, in his utterances and the utterances of the parliamentarians, are very clear on their intention. They're trying to do this obfuscation and to deny the real reality of what they're trying to do with the Integrity Commission.
Just want to start from the perspective, just preface what I'm saying by saying we need to ask ourselves, first of all, whether or not the way we are operating is building national consensus. And the fact is that we have been operating in a low-trust environment as a nation for far too long. And we know that opinions can and will differ. And not because we have been operating from a particular way for 50 years or less. It is that really in the interest of the nation, because what needs to be our priority is the interest of the nation. And we need to ask ourselves, how will we benefit as a nation at this time by the removal of the Auditor General? Because we have points I'll just quickly share. One, we believe that the Integrity Commission should be left alone to fulfill its mandate. And the second thing is that we are concerned that the removal of the AG at this time, because of her expertise and knowledge, is not in the best interest. And we have to consider the moral and ethical grounds on which we stand. Are we benefiting the nation, or is it merely self-interest? And that is what we have to ask ourselves, because JCC has always supported and consistently indicated that the Integrity Commission is a very critical part of dealing with the corruption at this level in our nation. And we really need our leaders to resist the temptation to molest the stipulations that they operate by. If we are really going to operate from a place of integrity, a place of honesty, where our people can begin again to trust. Because as I've said, we have been operating from a low trust environment in this nation.
Bishop, how do you respond? How do you respond to the one of the main points Mr. Chuck is making, which is that he says the Integrity Commission is of such a size and complexity, that it's very expensive to have external auditors audit it, and also that this is something now that we need the attention of the Auditor General to do. Therefore, she has to be, her office, whoever it is, has to be removed from the Integrity Commission so that it's the office of the Auditor General that can audit the Integrity Commission. How do you respond to that?
Well, as I said, at this point in time, based on her, I don't know that putting forth that reason is whether or not that is really so, and where she is operating now, can she not bring that to bear in this particular situation without her removal at this time?
No, it has to be one or the other. Her office can audit the Integrity Commission if she's a part of it.
Right. And so I'm saying, how can we remove her at this time if this is really necessary for us to do that at this time? We do not consider that it is in the best interest to have her removed. And even if this is something that they are considering for the future and would like to put that in place, then certainly the timing is not right.
Some are even arguing that this government is a tyranny government, meaning that they are cruel and oppressive. If you believe so, let me know in the comment section. Maybe you wanna say, what do you say about, the NIA President Daniel Archer's remarks, as well as the President of the Jamaica Councils of Churches? Maybe you wanna say, we see the opposition, calling out the churches to respond to this, and they have responded. Someone want to hear from on the ABR family and viewers. This government does not want to stand accountability, and they don't want any groups or independent bodies that are there to hold them accountable. They want to water down everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel on the road to 30K and beyond. Help me to get there, please and thanks. Get this video to at least 10,000 likes. Stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourself.